This month, Channel 1 Yuma Productions presents the Border Patrol Yuma Sector. Let's meet the Chief, Anthony J. Provaznik, an agent with 26 years of law enforcement experience with the U.S. Border Patrol, and, as of a year ago, has been promoted to Chief Patrol Agent of the Yuma Sector.
Well, my name is Anthony Provaznik. I'm the Chief Patrol Agent of the Yuma Sector Border Patrol. I've been here in Yuma since April of 2015. I started my career in the Border Patrol in 1988. My first duty station was just about 60 miles from here in Calexico, California. I remember not even knowing that there was a Border Patrol growing up. Although I was born in Phoenix, Arizona, I grew up in Southern Illinois, and I moved out to San Diego after graduating high school, and a few years later, after working, I worked in a factory and decided that wasn't for me, so I moved to California for adventure, and I found out about the Border Patrol. This was in 1986, and a friend of mine talked me into taking the test for the Border Patrol in 1987. It took me about a year to get in. I started in September of 1988. My first duty station, like I said, was Calexico, California. I was there for about 4.5 years. During that time, I was fortunate to apply for and be selected and go through a Border Patrol Tactical Unit selection process in 1992. It was a great, it's been really a big part of my career. I was fortunate in that same year to deploy overseas to Bolivia, working with DEA on Operation Snowcat. Back then it was to source country interdiction for cocaine. And I came back, and shortly after that I transferred to San Diego in 1993. It was a great experience over there. It was really busy over there compared to the way it was in Calexico. I learned a lot there, met a lot of people, and I transferred over there as back then it was a GS-9, so it was just what we call the journeyman Border Patrol agent. I deployed from there. I went to the academy and instructed law, and I took a liking to that, and so I transferred out to the academy in Brunswick, Georgia for about 3 years. From there I went to El Paso, Texas as a field operations supervisor with BORTAC at their national headquarters. And after a couple of years there, I transferred to Charleston, South Carolina as a firearms instructor. And from there I went to headquarters, Border Patrol in Washington, D.C. as an assistant chief patrol agent, and was fortunate to work in many programs up there. One of them was the emerging UAV program, which has now blossomed into a pretty robust program has 10 Predator B UAVs for surveillance along the northern, southern, and coastal border areas. From there, I transferred to El Paso Sector as a patrol agent in charge. About 2.5 years there in El Paso Sector, and then I transferred over to the Special Operations Group, which was formerly the Border Patrol Tactical Unit Headquarters. When I promoted into the director of the Special Operations Group in El Paso, Texas, I was then in charge of all the special operations in the Border Patrol. It was a very challenging and daunting task. I was asked to really revolutionize what we were doing in special operations and really expand our overseas footprint in terms of what we did to support the national strategy of the Department of Homeland Security and what we do overseas to help other countries combat cross-border illegal activity. I was fortunate to go on a number of overseas assignments. One of probably the most memorable, tracking back a few years after 9/11, I was asked to go to Pakistan to help the Department of State and Department of Justice look at a border security package that the United States was going to be giving to Pakistan to help secure the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. I also was fortunate enough to travel to Ukraine on a counter-proliferation project to combat smuggling of nuclear materials out of Russia. And that was just to harden the ports of entry and look at how border security was being done in those areas and conduct assessments and offer some solutions to how they could better support border security efforts in those areas. Those experiences, the number of jobs that I've had, and the leadership training have all sort of led me to this point in my career where I am right now as a chief patrol agent. And all those experiences, I think, serve me well in my decision-making process and how I look at things broader than just Yuma Sector, but the whole Border Patrol, the strategy that we employ. And the strategy changes over time, and we have to be adaptable to that. And I think all those different challenges throughout the years have really sort of strengthened my ability to be resilient and adaptive to changes. And I think that's very important for us, especially in a leadership role, not to be sort of set in our ways and think that the way we do it is the only way it can be done. One of the things I noticed was how secure Yuma is, really the border, and it's always been held up as a model of border security. After 2005, 2006, when it was really the focal point in the Border Patrol, Yuma sector was the focal point in the Border Patrol. Huge investments in tactical infrastructure, technology, personnel were brought into the Yuma sector, and I think with all those, a new sector here, a couple new Border Patrol stations, we still operate 3 checkpoints. The personnel numbers went up, although they've declined a little bit over the years, because as we have brought in force multipliers like technology and tactical infrastructure like the fencing that we have, has allowed us to do the job with fewer agents. As we know, though, the transnational criminal organizations evolve, and they change their tactics, and we have to adapt our tactics to what they do. What we see now in Yuma sector, we have an increase in apprehensions this year over last year, primarily due to Central Americans being smuggled up to the border and then illegally entering here in the Yuma AOR area of responsibility. That's probably about 75% of our activity here, what we call other than Mexicans, OTMs, primarily Central Americans, Guatemalans, Hondurans, and El Salv. We see other people from around the world cross through Yuma sector as well. Most of them, though, are Central Americans. Another part of our threats that we're seeing sort of elevate here in the Yuma area are drive-throughs, people that drive over the river. They create sandbag bridges just under the water line and drive vehicles across the river. They cut our barriers and they come in. We've had an increase in that activity, and that's primarily related to narcotics smuggling. In addition to that, one of the novel things that we see here in Yuma sector are drone incursions. So unmanned small aircraft that are operated across the border in Mexico fly over, and they can carry 10 or 15 pounds of dope and jettison the dope, drop it off, and then fly back into Mexico without us ever having the opportunity to apprehend those. We have apprehended numerous narcotics loads off of those, off the drones, and what we're trying to bring into the area are some new technology to be able to detect those incursions. Throughout the Border Patrol, there's been a new organization that's built, and it's called the Joint Task Force West. It's based out of San Antonio, which sort of looks at the whole border and how we attack transnational criminal organizations. So what we've brought into, since I've been here into sector, is a counter-network strategy to look at how those organizations are organized and how we combat those organizations, how we target the individuals that run the criminal organizations that operate in the Yuma area. Looking at what we're doing in the Yuma sector, there's a couple other things that we have to continuously look at, and that's our force laydown, our tactical infrastructure laydown, and our technology. Technology evolves quickly, and we have to be able to adjust and adapt to new technology. One of the things that we've done this year in the Yuma sector is upgrade all of our cameras along the border and upgrade our communications center. That's been a great benefit to the sector overall. The cameras that we had here were over 10 years old, and so that technology was really obsolete. They were degraded because of the environment here, the weather, the heat, the wind, the sand that we have here. So over time, that technology degrades, and we have to refresh that. That's an investment that we have to make, and this year was the year that we made that investment in that technology. It's been a huge benefit for us. Down along San Luis on the west side of the port of entry, we erected a new fence down there we call a Ballard fence. It's much higher. The old landing mat fence that we had down there was sort of leaning into Mexico. We had it propped up with concrete blocks to keep it from falling down, and we got that replaced. The agents that have worked here for 20 years have said that now that they can see through the fence, that this is the first time in their careers they've ever seen what is on the other side of the fence there. So that offers another level of agent safety, where the agents can see what and who is along the south side of the fence. So that's been a vast improvement over what we had down there before. Those technologies and even that infrastructure that we have down there is a great benefit to the agents. It's a great benefit to agent safety. I know that you've seen the videos from the 2005-2006 time frame where there are literally hundreds of people just rushing at the Border Patrol agents, and there's no way that an agent can first of all capture all those people, secondly detect who the real criminals are in those hordes of people that were crossing at the time. And the fence gives us that layer of defense that allows us to sort of funnel the traffic or stop it to the point where we can respond appropriately. And that's enduring, and it lasts and has enabled the Yuma sector to really maintain a high level of border security, really the highest in the country along the border. I like to fish and golf and spend time with my family. I spend a lot of time with my daughter. I have one child that's the only one I'm going to have, so I spend a lot of time with her. But fishing and golfing are the two things that I like to do off duty for hobbies. You know, my wife tells me that it's hard to do both of those, and I try to schedule one for one weekend and one the next, and then it cuts into a lot of family time. So I have to manage my time between those, but I probably do more fishing than golfing. And Yuma is a great place to fish. This is world-class freshwater fishing here, so I really like it. I have a small boat that I go out on, you know, there a lot of people around here fish, and so it's a relaxation point for me. I would like to say to the community that one of the things that I really noticed here in Yuma is the outgoing and outpouring of support here in Yuma community for the Border Patrol. Many times when I'm out in the community in uniform, people will almost always stop me and say thank you for the job that you've done. And I tell them, really it's a thanks to all the Border Patrol agents that work out in the field on the border 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's not a day or an hour that goes by that a Border Patrol agent isn't out in the line, in the 120-degree heat, in the wind, at night by themselves, that someone from the Border Patrol is not out there protecting America. And I think that's important for people to know, because it goes unseen. You know, a lot of the work, the great work that the Border Patrol does goes unseen. And we see a lot of the community through the checkpoints, and sometimes they can be an inconvenience to the traveling public, but we really appreciate the support of the traveling public at our checkpoints, because we really interdict a lot of narcotics and criminals there at our checkpoints, and it really keeps the community safe. It's our second line of defense from the border. We have a pretty robust and very professional canine corps here in Yuma sector. We have some very highly professional agents that run the canine program and our canine handlers, and you see them at the checkpoints. But that's not the only thing they do. We have search and rescue canines. We have patrol dogs, which we call Patrol Dog, which is a highly disciplined canine that can be deployed in a high-risk environment to subdue a subject that's a violent subject, for example, or a fleeing subject, without having to get the officer engaged in that subject and potentially hurt during an encounter with the subject. So we've really expanded that program. I think it's been very successful, and it'll continue to be successful. It's traditional for when a new chief takes command of a sector that we have a change of command ceremony, and that national chief of the Border Patrol comes to that sector and pins that chief's chief badge on. And in fact, this is the badge that the chief pinned on me when he came out for my change of command ceremony. Well, staff members here thought it would be nice to have my daughter recite the Pledge of Allegiance for the people that were there at the ceremony, and so she got up in front of probably 150 people and recited the Pledge of Allegiance and did an outstanding job. And I say, you know, she stole the show, so nothing else mattered after that, but she did a great job. What I'd like to tell the community is that sleep safe and sound at night, knowing that a Border Patrol agent is out there protecting America at all times.
Now see what the Border Patrol does for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The U.S.-Mexican border is the most heavily used corridor for human trafficking and drug smuggling in the United States. The job of a Border Patrol agent is one of the most dangerous law enforcement jobs in the country. Moments of high tension can quickly escalate into sheer horror.
Manos en la cabeza.
Unpredictable captives can turn on the agents at any moment. Border Patrol agents work in extreme conditions, endangering their lives under a scorching sun in order to save people in distress. Hot zone operations consist of capturing dangerous drug smugglers. Every minute of every working day, agents have to make critical life and death decisions that will determine the outcome of events. The Sonoran Desert is one of the deadliest terrains on the planet, with blistering temperatures of over 120 degrees Fahrenheit. This unsettling yet beautiful landscape walks a razor-thin line between life and death. This harsh environment preys on the weak. The desperate family of an 80-year-old American man have reported him missing to local authorities. Every passing minute without water reduces his chances of surviving. When someone is missing in the hostile environment of the Sonoran Desert, Yuma's elite search and rescue unit, Borstar, are called into action. Borstar are Border Patrol agents who specialize in tracking people down and are used to working against the clock. As soon as the crew are safely buckled in, the pilot starts the engine and the Earth slowly begins to fall away. Within seconds, the engines hit full power and the Black Hawk helicopter begins to sweep through the desert like a typhoon ripping through the sky. In order to quickly survey the vast landscapes of the Sonoran Desert, the pilot has to fly the Black Hawk helicopter at dangerously low altitudes, at speeds of over 160 miles an hour. Due to the increase of traffic in the skies, the pilot has to maintain a high level of awareness about his environment at all times. Maneuvering a 2-ton Black Hawk helicopter requires great skill and concentration. One mistake, one error of judgment, could lead to a deadly crash. When working in the blistering sun of the Sonoran Desert, Borstar agents have to be in top physical and mental condition in order to perform fearless rescues.
You just got to be aware that your environment is not friendly. If you get in trouble out there, you're going to become the next person to be rescued. You got to be a step above that.
Say somebody's got to make it 5 miles on foot. Well, we have to go not only 5 miles, we have to go that 5 miles back. We got to be able to walk in and walk out. So we got to go twice as much as the next guy.
I switched it on. I've had it on
Once the helicopter is in the vicinity of where the elderly man was last seen, Agents Emblem and Smith get in contact with ground agents who serve as their guides.
How much you're looking for track? I'm going to follow the line straight ahead, see if anything comes of it.
Border Patrol agents are specialized in tracking the fresh shoe prints of distressed people. From treads in the sand, Border Patrol agents are able to determine the size of their group, their age, and even the direction they're headed.
Okay, I got the man right here. Bring Black Hawk right where I am. Hard left, hard left. The Borstar guy's down. This guy is down hard.
Within seconds of locating the elderly man, the pilot skillfully maneuvers the Black Hawk helicopter into a secured landing position. Agents Emblem and Smith quickly move onto the scene. This is the moment when the adrenaline and years of training kick in. Sprinting over 200 yards in life-sapping temperatures of over 120 degrees Fahrenheit is both physically and mentally exhausting. One slip on the uneven terrain could result in a broken leg. Agent Smith's lungs and heart are ruthlessly working overtime as he has the extra burden of carrying a 100-pound bag of medical supplies. As soon as Agent Emblem arrives at the scene where the elderly man is lying, he realizes that he has died through heat exposure and dehydration. Outcomes like this are a harsh reality of the life of a Borstar agent.
Unfortunately, this stuff happens. This is probably everybody on the search and rescue team's greatest fear, is getting here too late. This is the part of the job that sucks.
Tracking someone in the scorching Sonoran Desert often takes time and patience, but Borstar agents know all too well that every passing second counts.
There's been times where we've literally showed up and it's been, a minute or two. 5 minutes, 10 minutes make the difference. So, yeah, it's pretty common.
We're going to be way too late to this guy. This guy was obviously in trouble at this point. He's got his pants down. He's trying to cool himself off. He took off his shoes at some point. This is his last minutes right here. If we follow his foot sign south,
Before handing the scene over to medical investigators, Agent Emblem tracks the elderly man's last steps in order to see if he can find any of his belongings that may be of value to his family. It will also enable the agents to get a positive identification on the man.
One of his footprints here, he's barefoot at this time, he's actually in his socks. Took off his shoes, moved around on the ground a little bit, looking for shade. Not a whole lot to be found out here if you look around. We'll continue to push him back south from here. See, he's staggering at this point. His steps aren't real coordinated. He might have been going for a morning walk, got lost, disoriented, couldn't find his way back to his vehicle. He might have bad vision, might not have been able to see as far as his vehicle when he got away from it. And it might have been nice and cool this morning in the 80s, but once that sun comes up, it gets hot quick. And if you're not prepared to be out here, this kind of stuff happens, unfortunately.
Once they have finished assessing the scene, Agents Emblem and Smith head back to the base. Although their faces are unknown to many, the exploits of Yuma's Borstar unit are legendary. Agent Emblem reflects on a mission that he will remember for the rest of his life.
Several years ago, we had a kid out here on his motorcycle. I believe he was 14. He was riding his motorcycle at the end of a busy holiday weekend, and the kid got in a real bad accident with the dune buggy. It ended up ripping his leg off, complete avulsion of his one of his legs. Our guys are out here just getting ready to go. They treated the kid. They stabilized him. Helicopter came out, transported him to Yuma Regional Medical Center. That's probably one of the most rewarding things. The kid lost his leg, but surprisingly enough, he was out there a year later.
The U.S.-Mexican border is 1,951 miles long, crossing through the states of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. The Tucson sector includes the border stations of Douglas, Naco, and Nogales, and it is the highest illegal alien and drug trafficking corridor in the U.S. Nogales is a dusty border town 60 miles south of Tucson. A 15-foot metal wall has been erected from salvaged aircraft carrier landing mats. This iron curtain cuts straight through the middle of the town, separating Nogales from its sister town, Nogales, Sonora, which lies on the Mexican side of the border. Illegal immigrants will travel hundreds of miles to Nogales, Sonora, hoping to be smuggled across the U.S. border. Day after day, they try to crawl under or over the wall and illegally enter the United States. In order to apprehend any terrorists, drug smugglers, and human traffickers, Tucson's Border Patrol have installed high-tech tracking devices, low-light TV cameras, and ground sensors. Border Patrol agents are stationed on hillsides looking down at everything and everybody on both sides of the border. Routine arrests can turn into life-threatening situations as numerous agents have been attacked with knives and other sharp objects. Chasing undocumented intruders can be seen as a game of cat and mouse. The stakes are high, and neither side can afford to lose. Agents Bob Bushhill and Jim Hawkins are two of Tucson's most experienced Border Patrol agents. They have been called in to check one of the cameras that's installed in a sewage tunnel running from Mexico to the U.S.
Probably right.
The tunnels are often breached by brazen, armed drug smugglers who take deadly pot shots at Border Patrol agents if they think that they're going to be caught.
Might as well check it. You go down there and check it out.
Taking no chances, Agent Bushhill gets his M4 rifle ready and moves into position with Agent Hawkins. They slowly move into the dark corridor and position themselves at the entrance of the sewage tunnel door. One of the greatest dangers that any Border Patrol agent can face is being blindsided by armed smugglers. Unaware if there is anyone in the tunnel, Agents Hawkins and Bushhill brace themselves for what could be a fatal encounter that could cost both of them their lives. Once in position, Agents Hawkins and Bushhill quickly push the door open and shine their flashlights towards the camera.
Both open. Shine a light at the camera. Okay.
They realize that the camera has been smashed. Agent Hawkins quickly enters the tunnel. He has to stay alert at all times as his visibility is restricted, narrowing his window of safety.
There have been people through here very recently. And then typically they'll come up and they also go up these side tunnels here. And then they'll come out of a storm grate on a side street, hoping our cameras don't see them. We wouldn't go any deeper than this normally without support, because it's a very narrow area, and any kind of fight in here, you're in an enclosed area, and it can be very dangerous.
After inspecting the tunnel, Agent Hawkins radios the Tucson headquarters and informs them that a maintenance crew will have to come out and fix the camera. Within an hour of leaving the sewage tunnel, Agents Hawkins and Bushhill get a call to chase down a group of undocumented immigrants that have triggered one of the ground sensors while walking through the Sonoran Desert. The job of a Border Patrol agent is not just risky, it's life-threatening. A routine search can often escalate into a perilous situation.
I was just finishing up a midnight shift, and I was out tracking in a canyon. And I ran into a group of about 30 people, and the smuggler told them that to pick up rocks and basically kill me so they could get away, because there was only one guy. If they got past me, they thought they'd get away. So I had 30 people trying to surround me and basically smash my head in with big rocks.
Tracking a group of illegal aliens often takes several days. However, it does not take long before Agent Hawkins notices some fresh footprints.
This is really fresh.
Once he identifies them and locates what direction the prints are headed, he begins his pursuit.
November 286.
Tracking a set of fresh footprints for several hours requires a great deal of knowledge, skill, and concentration. Border Patrol agents are taught ancient tracking skills called cutting sign. These hunting techniques have been used by tribes such as the Sioux, Navajo, Lakota, Kickapoo, and Chickasaw. Agents Hawkins and Bushhill can look at desert vegetation and tell you how recently a blade of grass has been touched by a human. They can spot a hair snagged on a low branch, twigs bent or broken by a passerby, or even a single fiber strand left by a marijuana-filled sack. They can quickly discern faint footprints in the desert dust.
These are old. You can tell by the way the rain has textured the soil inside. There's a new track. There's an old one. You can see how it's dimpled from the rain. November Bushhill, November 286.
After tracking the illegal aliens for nearly 3 hours, Agent Hawkins calls for assistance from one of the air units. The pilot of the helicopter flies ahead in the direction of the footprints to see if he can locate the fleeing suspect who is trying so desperately to get away. Years on the job have enabled Agents Hawkins and Bushhill to gain a great deal of knowledge. They know that patience and persistence are as important as technical tracking ability. They can't push too hard in the unforgiving Sonoran Desert, or else it will be them who will be in need of medical attention. Within a few minutes, the pilot is able to locate a suspicious-looking person only a few hundred feet from Agents Hawkins and Bushhill.
Bob, I got sign here.
As the helicopter hovers above, Agent Hawkins quickly moves and digs a 36-year-old man out of the bush.
When you're in a foot pursuit, it is kind of dangerous. You see how rough the terrain is. So you have the risk of personal injury, just falling, breaking bones, that sort of thing, going off a cliff, which I've done twice already. But also, you can't see the person's hands or the front of their body, typically. And you don't know if they have a weapon or not, and they can turn around and open fire on you in a matter of, 1 second. So it is dangerous. And again, if you have to put your hands on the person and physically subdue them, you don't know if they have a knife on them or a gun. So it can get very hairy.
The pilot of the helicopter calls for transportation. Agent Hawkins hands him over to a fellow agent who will take him back to their Nogales headquarters, where he will check to see if he has a criminal record. The UH-60L Black Hawk helicopter is 64 feet long and almost 8 feet wide. This powerful aircraft is fitted with 2 twin turboshaft engines. Within seconds, the pilot can be racing through the Sonoran Desert at speeds of 180 miles an hour and can climb to a height of 3,000 feet in the air. This gives the Border Patrol agents the advantages of high-altitude surveillance, peripheral vision, and a rapid speed of response. For the pilot to get a clear view at night of terrorists, drug smugglers, and human traffickers, he uses lightweight night vision goggles. The light amplification device takes available light from the moon or stars and intensifies it. This gives the Border Patrol agents an element of surprise as they can emerge from darkness and be on top of their assailants before they know it. For Yuma's Border Patrol agents, the night shift is the busiest and most dangerous time to patrol the U.S.-Mexican border. Smugglers of drugs and people will stop at nothing in order to ferry their cargo to its drop-off point in the U.S. They will dash across the desert with little care for anyone who gets in their way. "30 minutes after takeoff, and the radio is already buzzing with urgent calls for assistance. Agent Emblem responds to a high-speed chase between a ground agent and a driver in a white van who is traveling at 70 miles an hour down the highway. The van contains a smuggler and 10 undocumented immigrants who are packed airtight in the back.
I know we got a large group down here just came in on the west side of San Luis. They're down here in the sedan grass. We're going to see if we can land up the area and find them for the ground unit. Okay, yeah, we got it. Okay, moving. Okay, guys, vehicle is northbound on 10 Echo. It's going to be a white four-door SUV west of Foothills Boulevard.
As soon as Agent Emblem spots the van, he illuminates it. This permits the ground agents to lock onto its location. Suddenly, the smuggler takes a sharp turn to the right and heads off into the desert. The dangers are rapidly heightened when the smuggler turns off his headlights in an attempt to get away from the oncoming Border Patrol agents. Such reckless action puts the undocumented immigrants in immense danger. The smuggler can't see more than a few feet in front of his van. If he hits a divot, then it could catapult the vehicle, killing everybody inside it.
Yeah, they said there was a group of agents.
Agent Emblem has been a Border Patrol agent for over 9 years, and still to this day, he can't come to terms with smugglers' utter disrespect for human life.
It's a business to them. They need to get their human cargo, if you will, from Mexico to the smugglers on the U.S. side as quick as possible, and then they go back and they smuggle another group. If they lose a few on the way, I don't think they'd care less. I think what they do is despicable. It's the best part of our job is when we catch them.
Even though the smuggler is aware of the pursuing helicopter, he continues to press on the accelerator, barreling through the desert at over 50 miles an hour.
This is where they're throwing rocks at us. Oh yeah. Okay, he's coming up on that first dirt intersection there, guys. Right underneath the Hawk.
he suddenly makes an abrupt right turn and heads for a suburban area only a few feet from the desert highway.
If you guys can get into position just underneath the Hawk here, eastbound underneath the Hawk on the blacktop.
The police and land agents come swarming from all directions.
Okay, I'm gonna light the guy up now. Yeah. Light him up. He's going north, 1 block west of Fortuna Road.
The chase comes to an abrupt stop, and the occupants make a run for it.
Okay, guys, they're bailing out.
Agent Emblem relays the information to the ground agents, who then begin to chase down the smuggler and illegal immigrants.
We need bodies. We need to get some people over here ASAP, guys. They're running. Okay, I got a guy in the front yard. The guy's in the field, too. Tell them to stop. They're going to come out in the field.
The Black Hawk continues to hover over the housing estate, allowing Agent Emblem to comb the nearby gardens, fields, and alleyways, flushing out several of the illegal immigrants.
I just had a flare out on the night sun. That's horrible. You just gotta keep hammering on it, it'll come on. All right. Yeah, there. Turn to your right. Right there. Turn right, there you go.
When one of the ground agents heads into a nearby field, Agent Emblem illuminates it with the beam, providing him with enough light to safely apprehend 4 illegal immigrants.
Charlie, how many bodies did you have? Perez, Alcaraz.
As soon as the last of the illegal immigrants are in custody, Agent Emblem knows that his job is done, and he and the rest of the crew head back to base. Agents Boone Smith and Tyler Emblem finish their shift by checking in their M4 rifles. Tomorrow brings another day that will put their survival skills to the test as they continue to secure the U.S.-Mexican border. The following morning, and the Sonoran Desert seems at peace with the world. It covers a region of more than 100,000 square miles. An arid and rugged place, riddled with hundreds of deep canyons and caves that offer superb coverage for the hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens that cross the U.S. border annually.
Back, no turbo.
The Borstar team start their afternoon shift in a relaxed manner. The mood changes when Agent Tyler Emblem gets a call to survey the Colorado River, as there has been a sighting of several intruders attempting to cross into the U.S.
We've got a group of aliens that jump the border fence and they're skirting the edge of the canal. There's usually 2 routes that they can take in this area where they cross. It's down along the water, along the edge of the All-American Canal, or up and over this hill up here called Garcia's Hill.
Also en route is Agent Boone Smith. As temperatures rise to 125 degrees, the state of Arizona is currently experiencing one of the most severe heat waves in the last 10 years. Agents Smith and Emblem arrive at the river and are joined by Agent Michael Bailey, who is carrying an M4 rifle.
Yes, I do.
What's that?
Once they are ready, they head upstream. Agent Smith and Emblem know these waters like the back of their hands. They know every trail where illegal aliens hide out. Although the water looks quite calm, the Border Patrol agents never underestimate their terrain. The river is notoriously known for its deceivingly fast undercurrents and steep, non-negotiable banks. 10-foot reeds restrict their view. Without being able to see what's on the other side, Border Patrol agents run the risk of having rocks thrown at them or even being shot at.
Right here, guys, on the right. Pulling right over here.
Agent Emblem spots movement to his right. He carefully steers the boat towards the bank.
Want me to grab a line, too?
Once they hit land, Agent Smith and Bailey head through the thick, dense, snake-infested bush, where temperatures rise to over 140 degrees. Throughout a 12-hour shift, each agent must drink up to a gallon of water if he is to avoid severe dehydration. The border terrain is no place for the faint-hearted, as Agents Smith and Bailey are constantly bitten by mosquitoes. They also have to walk and crawl over land that is littered a foot deep with broken bottles, soiled disposable diapers, clothes, and syringes. When pursuing illegal aliens, Agents Smith and Bailey have their senses on full alert. They know they could be ambushed at any time with little space to maneuver.
Right up around that next corner, there could be a group, or there could be, people waiting for you, or, just dug into the brush. So it's really risky coming through these trails like this, and this maze of trails, and trying to find the group that you want to find. Not to mention that it's real tough to cut sign on this. It's almost near impossible. So the best you can do is know where the aliens went in and just pursue them.
For many illegal aliens, the journey to the U.S. is the ultimate dream. Unfortunately, for others, the road leads to a parched, everlasting hell.
A lot of times the smugglers will give the aliens medication, essentially speed, which increases their heart rate, increases their body temperature, causes dehydration. They act as diuretics, and it'll dehydrate the people even more, but they can keep going without stopping to eat. And, they get that kind of rush. They get the rush from the speed, so they keep going. The smugglers will give them medication and not even tell them, what it is. They're like, here, take this pill, here, take this pill. They'll keep giving them speed as they go. So that just compounds the fact, the heat factors on them and the dehydration factors on them. So a lot of these people are, have taken medication and stuff, and we'll find caffeine pills and ephedra pills on aliens all the time, aliens and smugglers all the time.
After tracking for over an hour, Agents Bailey and Smith are unable to catch up with the group of illegal immigrants who have been squatting in the reeds. They take a few moments to pay their respects to a fellow agent who perished while trying to capture a smuggler and save the lives of several illegal aliens.
This right here is a monument to Agent James Epling that died out here on December 16, 2003. He was chasing a group of aliens right off of here. It was the winter time. The aliens were, I believe, Chinese immigrants. And so he was yelling at them in Spanish and English, and weren't understanding them. And they'd been out in the middle of the river on a sandbar for quite some time. Well, Agent Epling went out, rescued the aliens, and was passing them up to his partner and said, I'm gonna go after a smuggler. And he was standing in about knee-deep water at this time. So he took off after the smuggler, who was on an inner tube and starting to float back south. He took off running in this knee-deep water. And the depth changed, kind of fell into a hole nearest we can tell, and ended up drowning in the line of duty.
Coyotes are individuals that are secretly hired to smuggle illegal immigrants into the United States. Mexican drug smugglers will often use them as decoys, so that the Border Patrol agents will focus all their efforts trying to capture them while the drug smugglers ferry their cargo into the U.S. without being detected. The Coyotes will transport up to 100 illegal immigrants at a time. If any of them fall behind, the Coyotes will not think twice about leaving them to perish in the desert. Pregnant women and children have been found severely dehydrated, only a few minutes from death. The life of a Border Patrol agent is a never-ending drill, often with life and death stakes. Agent Jones spends over 10 hours a day perched on a hill that overlooks the U.S.-Mexican border. He is constantly on the lookout for terrorists, drug smugglers, and illegal aliens trying to cross the border, as well as snipers who use high-powered weapons to fire at Border Patrol agents. Just when they thought the day was coming to an end, Agents Hawkins and Bushhill get a call to say that there has been a sighting of around 20 illegal aliens who are being escorted across the border by a coyote. As soon as they get within a few miles of the group of illegal aliens, Agent Hawkins hits the gas. He tests the truck's every component to the maximum as it picks up speed around every corner. When pursuing someone at high speed, a Border Patrol agent needs nerves of steel. There is no room for hesitation when hurdling your truck through the desert's narrow roads and traveling at dangerous speeds of over 50 miles an hour. It only takes one mistake to catapult the truck into a ditch. Several Border Patrol agents have already been killed when their truck hit a divot in the road and crashed.
I'll drop you off and I'll go up here.
In order to corner off the illegal aliens, Agent Bushhill jumps out of the truck and heads off into the desert, while Agent Hawkins speeds off towards the border, flying over bumps and skidding around corners. Agent Hawkins has to stay alert as he chases down the coyote who is trying to make his way back to Mexico. Despite all of his training and protective equipment, Agent Hawkins never knows how the situation is going to play out. Agent Jones is supporting tactical operations by watching every move that Agent Hawkins makes.
No te muevas. Mira a la puerta. No te muevas. Manos en las espaldas. ¿De dónde eres, señor? Sinaloa. ¿Qué estás haciendo aquí?
Frank,
As soon as Agent Hawkins handcuffs the coyote, he hauls him to his feet and marches him back to his truck.
Camiseta, sí.
Agent Hawkins has to constantly scan the area as he never knows who else is out there. One thing is for sure, Border Patrol agents are constantly watched by drug smugglers on the Mexican side of the border.
The immediate danger is the person you're dealing with. You don't know who you have until you get them back and screened and put through the system. So you have to treat that individual as if they are a threat until you have them secure, handcuffed in a vehicle, properly searched, and they no longer pose a threat. But while you're doing that, you also have to be aware of your surroundings. There could be somebody else out there, somebody trying to come up behind you. If you don't have a partner or a camera watching your back, it's up to you, and you have to be aware of your surroundings, because if you focus on that one person too much, you'll get what we call tunnel vision. And at that point, somebody could walk up behind you and take you out while you're trying to deal with the other person.
With the coyote safely secured, Agent Hawkins drives a half-mile downhill to help process the 17 illegal immigrants that were caught by Agent Bushhill. Arizona has become the principal and deadliest gateway for illegal immigrants. It accounts for nearly 1/3 of the 1.5 million people captured illegally crossing the border each year. An average of 400 people die every year while attempting to cross the border from Mexico to the U.S. They are willing to risk everything, even death under the scorching sun, to get to their destination.